نرحب بضيفنا هيو شيكشافت، مستثمر ومنتج أفلام ومؤسس لعدة شركات. Welcome Hugh from London. زي ما رأينا في تقرير عمر شاكر على مسألة حفظ الجسم، في هنا في الديلي تلغراف رسالة عن اللي بيعملوه في أمريكا وهي حفظ الرؤوس، وبيقول لك دي عملية بكش في بكش. هل في فعلا استثمار في ده ولا الناس بتكسب منها؟ As we've seen in Omar's VT about the crypto preservation of the body, which now using for MBAs and all that, you see a letter on Daily Telegraph saying it's actually a big scandal. That's a con job. Is there actually, you're an investment man, is there an investment in this technology?
Not whilst they've not regulated it, I would respectfully suggest, because that's the quickest way to lose your money. Whether the efficacy of it is, there for all to see at the moment, is a moot point. And from that point of view, it depends on whether you're the person being frozen when you're going to get your money back when you come back, or whether we should be investing in it now. And I don't see these guys paying out once and that's it.
يعني لو مسحوكش تاني راحت عليك الفلوس، يبقى موت وخراب فلوس. النقطة الثانية بمناسبة الفلوس اللي هتروح، أنت شفت يوم الأربعاء تقرير وزير المالية عن ميزانية الخريف. لو بصينا للصحف هنا كأننا بنبص في بلدين مختلفين. الجارديان مثلا بتقول إن الخروج من الاتحاد الأوروبي هيكلفنا 95 بليون. الديلي ميل بترحب بيها وبتقول ان الخمس سنين الجايه هتكون كويسه طبعا حسب. About people losing their money. You watched the budget, the mini budget, autumn statement on Wednesday. Are we losing money? Are we winning money? Guardian says 59 billion. Cost of Brexit, Daily Mail takes a different view. What's your intake?
I think the establishment, the Financial Times, The Guardian, they're all peddling the Remainer line still. And it's a surprise to me when Philip Hammond was made Chancellor of the Exchequer because he was such a staunch Remainer. Are we making money or losing money? I think one of the things they're not talking about, they're only ever giving us headline figures of doom and gloom for us, when actually they should be looking at the cost of remaining, which will be how we bail out the German banking system with Deutsche Bank and Commerz, how we bail out the Italian banking system, how the internal differentials within the euro make it completely unsustainable, and therefore the ECB, the European Central Bank, will also not be able to deal with the debt crisis in Southern Europe. So that would actually cost us hundreds of billions to remain, but nobody's talking about that.
وزير المالية غير ضرائب، قال مش هندفع نتخلص من الديون، هيستلف عشان يستثمر جديد، لكن زود VAT. الواحد مش عارف يستثمر فين. Chancellor of the Exchequer changed some rules. He gave away the goal of reducing the deficit, cheap interest rate, borrow to invest in infrastructure. Nobody actually knows where to invest. Now, our viewers, especially in the Gulf, in Egypt, in the Arab world, should they put their money in Europe and America or here? Where would they invest?
I think without any shadow of a doubt, London is, for the Europeans, a flight to quality, both in stock market terms and particularly in property because of the exchange rate drop. Any stamp duty issues have actually been almost wiped out by the drop in the sterling rate. So it makes very
أسف المقاطعة. يعني بالنسبة للمستثمر العربي، هل رغم ارتفاع أو رغم وجود قيمة شراء العقار، دمغة شراء العقار، هل لا تزال بريطانيا ولندن أولا آمنة بالنسبة لسوق العقار؟ ثانيا إن دلوقتي الاستثمار في العقار أرخص بسبب انخفاض سعر الجنيه؟ Sorry to interrupt. I just want to clarify a point. We have a high stamp duty, But is London and Britain, for Arab investor, a safe and attractive tool for real estate?
The one great thing about Arab investors is they're always in it for the medium to long term. Nobody has the disease that we have in the West, which is buy it this week, try and sell it next. For medium to long term, London still represents, and the UK, an extraordinarily good investment opportunity. And post-Brexit, with a Trump administration where he is moving away from large global conglomerate type globalized trade deals, with the fact that he's clearly stated he won't be ratifying TPP or TTIP, and he wants to return to bilateral trade agreements. We now, coming out of the European Union, represent an extraordinarily good opportunity, because trade between us and America will, I believe, flourish very, very strongly.
طب بالنسبة للمستثمر من العربي من أعالي البحار أو العرب المستثمرين حاليا هنا، هل مسألة اتفاقيات تجارة منفصلة الخروج من الاتحاد الأوروبي خبر طيب أم خبر مزعج بالنسبة لهم؟ Okay, for overseas investors then, Brexit, new deals with America, is this good news or bad news for investors here and coming?
It's good news. I think there's way too much doom and gloom. The elites and the establishment are not happy we're coming out. As I said, the issue with staying in the single market is nonsense. Our net contribution to the EU represents a 7.5% tariff to go in. Under World Trade Organization rules, it would be 3.5%. Plus the fact we're not heavily burdened by their regulations. Romania cannot veto any deal we want to do with America.
طب سؤال سريع، التوقيت بالنسبة للاستثمار الآن بعد قد إيه تفضل الفلوس قد إيه؟ Very quick question. The timing of investment to bring money here now or next year?
I would suggest that, depending on how you're going to invest, if you use the dollar cost averaging arrangement, which is, there's never a better time to buy than there is today, because in 5-10 years time, whether you buy this month, next month, or in 6 months, the likely impact is been eradicated. So I would suggest, look now, while the doom and gloom's going on, because once the market moves, it'll move very, very quickly. And the exchange rate is good for people right now. And yeah, I would say, but if you feel that way, hedge your bets. Invest now, invest a little more later, and just, as I said, and hold on for the ride, because it will be good.
ابقى معنا في الاستراحة قصيرة. We just go into a break now. I'll come back after a minute. نرحب مرة أخرى بضيفنا هيو شيكشافت، المستثمر ومنتج الأفلام. أنت شفت هنا السبيكر بيقترح إن سامون بانز يبقى هو كمان السفير، يبدو إنه بينتقم منه. بس هنا القضية هو لسه مش هيتعلم ترامب مسألة إن التويتر دي ممكن تعمل له مشاكل أكثر ما بتعمل له يساعده في الانتخابات. I think the speaker here was suggesting that Simon Burns become an ambassador. Maybe he's actually paying him back, a joke he played on him. The point here is, what possessed Trump to put it on Twitter? Trump used Twitter to win the election, but it can also backfire.
Yeah, I think, as I said, we live in a post-truth world now. I think we're starting to live in a post-protocol world where protocol doesn't matter anymore. It wouldn't be the first time that a presidential candidate has requested a specific British ambassador to Washington.
بس مش على تويتر.
Yeah, but he didn't do it by Twitter. JFK asked specifically for an English friend of the family. And you would normally do that through back channels. I think it would have been better if he'd done that. We do have a Remainer, though, as an ambassador.
انت كنت على فكره معاهم، يعني كنت بتصل بيك يوميا 2 3 مرات في اليوم وانت في امريكا في واشنطن دي سي مع الجماعه بتوع ترامب. نقطتين، النقطه الاولى، هل مساله الاصرار على ناجل فراج دي عامله مشاكل لتريزا ماي؟ نمره واحد. نمره اثنين، هل سترى فعلا ان ترامب هيتعلم ويتطور ولا هيفضل يعمل نفس المشاكل دي؟ When you were in Washington, and I was actually calling you a couple of times a day to check on you, you were with the Trump people. Is actually Nigel Farage an issue now going to become a hinder and an embarrassment for the government? And also, will the Trump people actually learn the language of diplomacy?
I don't think he's not. He could never possibly be an ambassador. He's been an activist. Clearly he lacks the diplomatic skills. What I think his benefit would be, having spent a lot of time there, being in the Trump hotel on election night with a lot of his campaign people down in DC and watching history being made, and the time that I spent there before with major law firms, with lobbyists, with everybody else. Nobody knew there what Brexit meant, what it was, or what the potential benefit to the US has been. That benefit now has increased many times with the Trump administration. If I was Nigel Farage, he's going to be out of work because he's not going to be an MEP much longer. He should come and work with Professor Sturgis and I, and we'll go over and educate all the law firms and the policymakers and the politicos and the congressmen as to what it actually means. So I'm offering you a job, Nigel. You don't have to ask on Twitter.
شكرا هيو. انا هبعت بقى تويتر لنايجل فراج، هقول له ان هيو بيشوف له وظيفه يعملها، هو كمان كان بيشتغل في السيتي. هيو.
Yes, sir.
هل دلوقتي مسوغات التعيين ان واحد يتقدم له فلورو روشا يبقى سفير؟ It is now a qualification for someone to be an ambassador by actually having the Ferrero Rocher?
Possibly. I've had a few. But I'm not an ambassador. But I'll take one.
You can have one. You can't have
I can only one. Okay,
and
thank
I'm going
you.
to have one for my daughter.
So I'd like to be ambassador to Cairo.
Oh, I think they would love you. هيو عازب هو سفير ل